Imam Hussein told the people that reviving the sunnah and the tradition is the true success in this life and the hereafter. The Prophet ﷺ says, "Man tamassaka bi sunnati inda fasadi ummati, falahu ajru mi'ati shahidin." That in the time of turmoil, in the time of fitna, in the time of fasad, when one person revives one sunnah, just starts to use a miswak, because Mustafa Kareem used a miswak, then the Prophet ﷺ says, for every sunnah which he revives, Allah Kareem will bestow him the rewards of 100 martyrs in the shaheed in the way of Allah. Lessons of Karbala, and that's one main lesson of Karbala, which is namaz, which we neglect today. Imam Muslim radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates a Sahih Hadith that जिस इंसान ने जानबूझकर एक नमाज छोड़ी, वो अल्लाह तबारक व ताला की जिम्मा से बरी हो गया, उसे न अल्लाह का हिफ्ज़ अता हुआ, न अल्लाह का अमान अता हुआ. He will be freed from the protection of Allah, and anything from dunya can come and take him. Allah is not concerned. Today, your children, my children sit on sofas when the central heating is on, and the television is on, and the pizzas are being fed to the children. And the time for namaz, no matter, we'll read before you go to sleep. And when the time for sleep comes, the shaitan comes and we just knock off and go to sleep. But Imam Hussein gave us a lesson that my children were in the land of Karbala, whose heads and arms and legs were being cut into pieces. And when only I was left, standing in front of more than 17,000 people who were thirsty for the blood of Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, history mentions that just before his assassination, he asked those people who were about to attack him, let me perform sajda and prostration in the court of Allah Kareem. Today is Friday. The Imams of the Ummah of my grandfather will be performing the Friday prayers. When a person has greed for dunya, when a person has greed for the world, then nothing bothers him. He'll go through anything to get that. People like Shimmer, and people like the likes of Shimmer, they took the head of Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. History says they even stole his clothes. History says they even stole his shoes. And history says they left his naked body lying in the land of Karbala. It is the rule of Mustafa Kareem that whenever he would go to battle, and if there were non-Muslims killed, Mustafa Kareem would say to his blessed companions, bury them. And they would be buried, and 3 days the Prophet ﷺ would stay in that land. But these people never buried the body of Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala. These people never gave a corpse to the body of Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala. They were thirsty and hungry, and they even tried to cut off the hand of Imam Hussein and take it with them. Let's take it to Yazid, and maybe in life Imam Hussein did not put his hand in the hand of Yazid. We'll cut the hand and we'll take it to Yazid, and Yazid can put the hand in the hand of Imam Hussein and say, Hussein, in life you did not put your hand in my hand, look, I've got your hand now. But it was the qudrat and the power of Allah that history says they looked for that hand in the whole land of Karbala, but Allah Kareem raised it towards the skies. Nobody found the hand of Imam Hussein. And it's a true fact that the heads of the martyrs of Karbala were put upon spears, and they were taken through the streets of Damascus. And we see that it is a true fact that people say, how can the head of Imam Hussein recite the Quran? This was the effect of the blessed saliva of Mustafa Kareem, that the head of Imam Hussein, through solid proof and evidence, did recite the verses of the glorious Quran while being dragged through the streets of Syrian Damascus. There was someone in front of that spear on which the head of Imam Hussein was, and he was reciting the verses of the glorious Quran of the people of the cave. And he was saying, oh people, how ajeeb and how amazing is the happening of the people of the cave. And that dog, the head of Imam Hussein, spoke, but the happening of Hussein is even more amazing than the happening of the people of the cave. Nobody has ever taken so much pain in history as the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So if today's lesson can just be to say our prayers on time, I think that will be enough. And the rest, everything else is just a normal routine. Every year, year in, year out, we mention our talks. But if someone today can take hold of prayer so firmly, that nothing can stop them from prayer, then accept that and understand that this gathering has been accepted in the court of Allah. May Allah give myself and all yourselves the ability and the tawfiq to do goodness, to stay away from evil, to enjoy in goodness, to ask others to do goodness, and may Allah give us the tawfiq and the ability to be modest, not to show people. Whatever you do, do it for Allah. You don't need to show anybody. So one of the brothers texted me a few weeks ago, and at the end it's mentioned that you do goodness, people will know it for a few days, then they'll forget it. But don't bother about them anyway. If you do a gунah, a violation of the law of Allah, people will remember it for a long time. But you are accountable in the court of Allah. Forget about them. Don't worry about them anyway. And you are only, at the end of the day, you are accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If your heart says that Allah Kareem is happy with me and I am happy with him, doesn't matter what the world says. So we see that the most accepted action in the court of Allah is a person's character after worship. May Allah give us tawfiq to rectify our character. In the hadith of Imam Bukhari radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Sahaba Ikram asked, O Prophet of Allah, which is the best deed? Which is the most completion, or which is the most satisfactory status of Iman? What is the completion of Iman? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam points towards his tongue and says, control this. When you control this, everything will be accepted in the court of Allah. May Allah give us the ability to sit with good people, to have good friends, good companions, and keep away from evil. Ameen wa ma'alina illa balagh.